Today's exercise: how do you attract creativity relationships? How do you attract creativity relationships? Welcome to Creativity Made Simple, your daily tips and exercises to inspire your imagination, to ditch fear and judgment, and to make more art, whatever that means to you. So how do you attract relationships which support your creativity? All right, pull out your pen. If you don't have one in front of you, a pen and paper, then pause this right now and go grab one, because you're gonna be writing down some questions. It's time to contemplate your relationships. So here we go. There are many different kinds of relationships, and many have multiple levels of intensity. Having been affected by people in the past who have said, oh, you're not an artist, or your own mind that says you're not creative, many of us find it difficult to form and sustain relationships with people who inspire our creativity, right? Our actions often teach people how to treat us, right? So if you are completely immersed in business at all times and not supporting your own creativity, then most likely, my hair's coming apart, most likely people aren't gonna reflect that back to you, right? It may be all too obvious that we expect too much or too little from life. Is that true? We may know how to interact with certain people or with people in general, and we may decide that having other people in our lives is just not worth the effort if they don't support us, right? So we deprive ourselves of creative companionship. So sometimes the hardest relationships are the ones we didn't even choose, or we chose so long ago, or marriages, kids, people that that are in our lives, but we don't really know sort of how to be creative with them. These are relationships, obviously, with family members and maybe best friends from a really, really long time. And if we're lucky, we eventually learn that, everybody has to make an effort in order for this relationship to work. And such, the work begins where? Aquí, right here, right? We all know that. Our behavior can be a powerful example to those around us. And as our self-esteem grows through our creativity, as our creative confidence grows, we may enjoy improvements in the quality of some of the relationships as we do our best when we encounter people, right? And people notice and they may act accordingly. So here are your questions. I want you to reflect upon your relationships and where you feel creative to be with certain people, right? So most of us find that after a while we begin to attract what we give out. If we are consistently warm and respectful, for example, then obviously we're gonna have people be warm and respectful towards us. Well, a lot of us have spent our entire lives in business and people aren't used to you being creative. So you get to start from here, and then you will start seeing the outpicturing out there, right? Change your thinking, change your life. We know this. So I'm gonna ask you these questions. I want you to write them down, and then I want you to contemplate them as your exercise for today. Okay, ready? 1, how do you interact with people in your home, in your job, in your neighborhood creatively? So where do you express your individual stamp of creativity? In your home, in your job, in your neighborhood, in your church, in wherever you spend your time, okay? Number 1. Number 2, who establishes creative boundaries in your relationships? Is it you? Is it a partner? Do you let your children? Do you let someone in a societal role, your boss, Who are you giving the power to that sets boundaries around your creativity? Number 3, you ready? In your interaction with others, what might be harmful to their creativity? How are you potentially limiting creativity in home, in neighborhood, in family, in work? So I want you to honestly, deeply analyze and write about these 3 questions. 1, how do you interact with people in your home, in your job, in your neighborhood, etc., creatively? How are you contributing? How are you serving with your creativity? It doesn't have to be art either. It can be many, many different ways. 2, who sets the boundaries in those relationships? So go back to that, number 1, and look at the boundaries set. And 3, in your interaction with others, what can be harmful about the way you are depleting yourself or others of creativity? Big stuff. All right, let me know your thoughts. Love you. See you mañana.